Hey guys, what's going on? So I really want to have a discussion on this topic here in the comment section with you guys. And it's about the topic of all video games need easy mode. And I would like to counter that point with not all games need easy mode because not every game is going to be accessible or tailored to everybody. There are some games that you're just not going to get into. Sad to say, but there are just games that you're not going to get into. Like, for instance, not a lot of people are going to get into Ghost of Tsushima. Not a lot of people are going to get into Ratchet and Clank, even though it's a very, open game to anybody. It's not going to appeal to everybody. Same thing with Demon Souls. Like, it's these are games that are not going to appeal to anybody. And of course, with Demon Souls, of all games, and of course all the other Dark Soul games, they're known for their difficulty, their brutal difficulty. And I would hate to have easy mode for games like this because it ruins the reputation that the Soul series has built off of, and that is not having a difficult modifier, no easy mode, and you literally have to learn the game to get good at the game. It's the same with fighters and shooters. Like, you're not going to start playing the game. Like, soon as you put the game into your console or you download it and you start it up, you're not going to be acing the game like right off the bat. No, you have to sit down and learn the game mechanics, learn how everything works. And especially with fighters, like, you're going to have to learn every character, learn the mix-ups, and so much more, all their movesets, their combos, and the list goes on. So not every video game needs to have an easy mode. I understand that, yeah, there are games that should have it, but if other people can figure it out and then they can beat and complete the game, then you're just one of the, you're just one of the few people that couldn't beat the game. I mean, there's been some games that I completely gave up on. Like, not too long ago, I had Returnal for the PS5, and I gave up on that. Like, the game is easy to play. Like, I understand the game, but I kept getting my ass kicked. So I ended up returning the game back, but I will repurchase it again once it's cheaper because that $70 price tag, that hurt. But this is all coming from this one TikTok video that I seen go around the internet, and it's been about 6 days. So I'll play the full thing, and then of course I'm going to go back on certain parts of the video and then just talk about the points that this person has made. So we're talking about cruelty-free Faye, and she says this.
All video games need easy modes! I'm gonna explain. But first, if you're one of those "you're not a real gamer if you play games on easy mode" people, you can scoot right along there, buster! Cause listen, I love video games. I'm also very bad at video games. I am a big kid with a big kid job and responsibilities like car payments, and I don't have time to be good at video games. Side note, we are not hating on people that make video games a priority. If being good at video games is one of your priorities, what an excellent way to spend your downtime. I am flabbergasted by your skills. It's just not one of my priorities. I have many skills in this life, but beating Hollow Knight mini bosses is not one of them. I don't want a challenge. Life is hard enough. I want a cool interactive story. And what happens is I get frustrated on a fight I can't beat, and I end up giving up, and I lose out on so much cool story. Video game creators, this is my plea to you. / on with the story. Easy modes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so while that was playing, I ended up getting all of this. These are all my games. Physical games. I can't show you, I mean, I could show you my digital ones, but that would take too long of the video, but I want to get to the point. So she made a couple of points on this video that she made on TikTok, and I'm just going to go back. All right, so let's talk about this point right here. She said, if you're one of those, okay, not this part. All right, so this part right here.
Listen, I love video games. I'm also very bad at video games.
All right, so she says she loves video games, but she's also bad at video games. I spoke about this earlier in the video that yeah, you're not gonna just come in fresh into a game completely knowing what to do, because let's face it, if you've played any game for the very first time, most of the times you're not going to know what to do because you're in the learning phase of the game, because you're trying to learn and understand the game. So yeah, in the beginning you're going to be bad, like you're going to be trash, especially if you're playing games like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, a fighter game, or you're playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, because you're trying to learn and understand how the mechanics work, and in the beginning you'll see like certain hits like, okay, do this, do that, and then it'll like the game will hold your hand in the beginning, and then it'll just kind of like let you go and be like, all right, you kind of figured everything out, so you should be good to go on your own. But of course, games like Tomb Raider will have an easy mode. But yeah, you're not gonna just be very good at the game when you come right into it. Like nobody is, especially for the very first time. So let's argue another point.
I am a big kid with a big kid job and responsibilities like car payments. And I don't have time to be good at video games.
Welcome to the real world like everybody else. Like, I'm 33. I work a full-time job, like for like 10 to 12 hours almost every about 5 days. 5 days out of the week. So I have 2 days off and 5 days on. And my days usually range from 8 hours, 10 hours, or very, very rare 12 hours. And yeah, by the time I come home, I have like a lot of other stuff I gotta do, some errands that I gotta take care of and run. And I'm not going to be investing time into a lot of the games. Now, you're seeing this collection and be like, my goodness, you have such a huge collection of games. Well, I would like to say that for certain games, especially with fighters, I would always do 2-hour streams of these fighters, playing Road to 100. This is a series that I came up with where I learn the game as I play against people online and I try to get 100 wins. That's my goal. And usually when you do play fighters, especially online, the more you play it, the more you invest time into the game, the better you are going to be, because now you know your matchups very well. You know the type of person that you're going to be going up against. You know your character that you're going to use, and the counter character if a person chooses a character that puts you at a disadvantage. So you know the mix-up game very well. So let's take a fighter out and let's look at something like Doom, which is a first-person shooter. And yes, Doom does have an easy mode. And going into it, you're just going to be, running around, shooting, and killing stuff. That's pretty much what you're going to be doing. So, yeah. You're going to spend time trying to get good at the game. So, her point that, hey, because I work, because I don't have time, I'm bad at the game, so the game should be easy. Well, that's not on a developer. That's not the developer's problem that you don't have time to play their game. That's not their problem. That's not their issue. It's your problem that you can't put in time into the game to get good at it, so that way you can fully enjoy it. We all have responsibilities as we grow up, and even I'm seeing that now, that I'm gaming less and less. Usually I would put in maybe 2 to 3 hours a night or so of gaming, but as life goes on, you're going to have a little bit more responsibilities coming your way. There are things that you're going to have to take care of on your own. And when it just comes to your hobbies, like especially gaming, you're just not going to have enough time for it. So yeah, that's going to put you behind others that do put in more time into the game, because guess what? They may not have the same responsibilities as you. Think about that. Some people can play video games all day long. You have streamers who do it for a living, where they can just sit there and play video games for 5, 6, 7, even 8 hours. Hell, I just seen one guy did a 54-hour stream of Apex Legends. I couldn't do that. Like after about 4 to 5 hours, I'm burnt. Like, especially at my age, if I was younger, like 10 years younger, oh, definitely. I would drop 10, 12 hours into a game and just have nonstop fun. Now that I get older, it's just, yeah, I can't be doing that anymore. So, hey, of course, we're adults. You're going to have responsibilities that you need to take care of first and foremost before you can enjoy your hobby. But that's not the developer's problem, that they need to make their game easier so that way you can play and enjoy it. That's your problem. So let's continue.
Note, we are not hating on people that make video games a priority. If being good at video games is one of your priorities, what an excellent way to spend your downtime. I am flabbergasted by your skills. It's just not one of my priorities. I have many skills in this life, but beating Hollow Knight mini bosses is not one of them. I don't want a challenge. Life is hard enough. I want a cool interactive story. You know what happens is I get frustrated.
All right, so if you want a cool interactive story, there are genres of games that will definitely give that to you, but you're not going to find that in a game like Hollow Knight. You have to, like, people need to understand that not every game is going to be tailored to your liking. It's what the developers made the game out to be, so that way people who are new to it can maybe gauge their interest. If they like what they see, all right, cool. We'll keep adding more content. We'll even do a sequel to keep you further engaged with the game, to keep you engaged with the series. But I'm just like, bruh, I hear her arguments. Don't get me wrong, I hear them, but it's just that you don't want to challenge. Life is hard enough. Well, play something else. Like, I would recommend playing a game like Tetris Effect. I mean, Tetris is a challenge enough as it is already, but if you don't want a challenge, if you don't want a game that's very easygoing and not a challenge, I would recommend Super Mario 3D World, but hell, even that game doesn't have a difficulty modifier, doesn't have an easy mode, but Mario games tend to be extremely easy. Yeah, you're going to die. You're going to lose a couple of lives here and there or whatnot. But guess what? Once you die and do it all over again, at least you know what to expect. So her argument that, life is hard. Okay, cool. You're not the only one. Like, the world does not revolve around you. So I want to understand, her take on this. And I kind of do. It's just that you're just one person out of the many people that enjoy the game and they play it the way it is. And it's just that you just don't have the time to adapt to be on their level. So you want the developers to make the game a little bit more easier, so that way people who don't have the time to put into the game to try to get good at it can enjoy it. And it's just like, no, because if the majority like it for what it is already, without, any difficulty changes, then you just have to get good at the game. You just have to really sit down and play the game, learn the game, understand the game, so that way you can actually try to get good at the game and do better. Shouldn't be on the devs to make the game easy for you. Like, no. So, let's keep continuing.
You know what happens is I get frustrated on a fight I can't beat, and I end up giving up, and I lose out on so much cool story.
All right, so we're getting towards the end, so where she's like, video game creators just might play to you, so I'll just, wrap it up on that part. So, she misses out the part, she gets beat, like, okay, like everybody else does, like, we all get beat, like, look. Okay, besides this game, which I completely gave up on, but I will return and beat Dark Souls Remastered. I will, because I've beaten Dark Souls 2. I've beaten Dark Souls 3 twice, and I love this game so much. I've beaten Sekiro, and I've beaten Bloodborne. I've beaten both Neos, so I just had to really put in the time, or whenever I did have the time to play the game, to learn it, understand it, and get good at it. Hell, even in these games, you can farm your ass off and make yourself so overpowered to the point where you go up to the bosses, a good couple of hits, and they're dead. Game's done. You no longer have to suffer anymore. But honestly, like, nothing against her. It's just that video games shouldn't be okay. Because I had to rethink that part. Okay, here's what I want to say. I kind of get her reasoning behind it, but at the same time, she's the minority out of the majority, because the majority of people already play the game for what it is. They love it. They enjoy it. They keep buying it. And there are people out there that just don't want the game to change because, hey, so that way it can be more accessible for everybody else who isn't so good at the game and, more importantly, don't have time to put in the game to try to get good at it. So my response to, people like that is, y'all just have to suck it up and just put in the time and get good at the game. Like, like, I understand you want it easier or whatnot, but if you want it easier to the point where you can enjoy the story, then I'd even recommend watching like YouTube, playthroughs of said game, so that way you can see the entire story and know and know what it is for. Like, look at Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, you can literally watch the whole thing of Red Dead Redemption 2 from start to finish if you really don't want to put in a lot of hours. And believe me, you will put in a lot of hours in that game. So that way you know where the story goes from start to finish. If you really don't want to put in hours, into the game to know exactly what happens towards the end. Because, yeah, you are going to give up in the game, especially if it's challenging. I've given up on games like, bruh, I gave up on this. I gave up on Dark Souls, but I will return. Same thing with Returnal 2. I will return to Returnal, beat that game, beat this game, and then, hey, move on to another game that I can, play and beat. But, of course, it's going to take time because as you get older and you have more responsibilities, you're not going to have a lot of time to play these games. So, yeah, you're not going to be very good. The reason why you're not good is because you don't put in enough time. Practice makes perfect. You hear this all the time. It's like playing a physical sport like basketball, football, baseball, soccer. If you don't put in enough time to get good at the game, then of course, yeah, you are going to be bad at the game. You don't have enough time into the game. So let's not say, hey, let's have some shortcuts so that way we can enjoy this while everybody else is finding a way to put in time into the game to try to get good at the game. Because if you have people who have children in a relationship or married and they can still put in hours into a game, I mean, what's the excuse other than you just don't want to put in the time into it? Eventually, you have to make time to put into these games. Like, even for myself, when it comes to streaming and whatnot, I have to find a way to make time to do the stuff. Same thing with fighters, same thing with shooters. I just have to find the time, put it in, get it done. All right, moving on to the next. Especially since we have more new games coming out later this year, especially Battlefield 2042. You already know I'm going to be on that day one. Like, I'm going to make time for that game so that way I can enjoy it when it really comes out. So, other than that, no ill intent towards cruelty-free Faye. I get her understanding. I get her reasoning behind it, but I'm just not going to 100% agree. You just have to really put in the time to get good at the game. It's that simple. Just got to put in the time. I do not recommend telling devs to, hey, make the game easy so that way people can enjoy it. No. Make it the way as y'all intended. And if people enjoy it, if the majority enjoys it for what it is, go with that. So, all right, y'all. Y'all let me know in the comment section below what are your thoughts. I know this is a very long video, but, I wanted to have a discussion with you guys. So, y'all let me know in the comment section below what are your thoughts. And, yeah, can't wait to hear from you. Anyway, guys, until next time, and as always, stay classy.